What is up? What is up? Welcome to day number 4. I'm just in the process of setting up a trade here. I've been trading for the last hour or so, and you notice that red banner down the bottom, which is indicating that my free margin is not in the greatest position. And what I've had to do is actually switch to 1% trades, so risking only 1% of the account per trade, which is probably realistically what I would be trading anyway, but that will just allow me to actually place some trades, because especially with this USD CNY or CNH, it seems that it uses up a large portion of my margin trading, which is annoying. And that's because I have to have the higher lot sizes here, because the volatility is, it's quite volatile. Like this particular move, we're looking to make 49.7 pips. Actually just lost a trade on the USD CNH or CNYs. So we were looking for the same, and it spiked up, and this is the better of the trades. It's now sort of reached another peak, which I'll show you in a second. Let me just enter these details. What am I looking for here? So we're looking to go stop loss above, because this is a sell, so we're looking this to be our bull level, and I'll explain this in a little bit. But 9091 and 8097. Alright, so we've set our levels, but let me jump out to the 4-hour chart, and you'll see we've sort of reached this level here that it's been bouncing up and up and back between. It has breached the level a couple of times there, so I'm really hoping that it doesn't it doesn't hit that level again, but we are looking like we've got a very strong green candle here for the last 4 hours. Last 4 hours it has shot up almost 100 pips, right? 87 pips. Looking at our ATR, average true range, for the last 14 candles, 93 pips on the 4-hour chart. Massive movements. So we go down to sort of the 15-minute chart, and it was at around about this level here that my sell signal came in previously. You'll see this particular loss here, and it's not looking good. When we look at the historical trades for the last couple of days, it's been a bad, or for the last day, it's been a bad day in terms of losing trades. But that's just the name of the game. Sometimes you're going to have bad days, sometimes you're going to have good days. We are just taking the trades as they're given. There's no extra rules that I'm bringing to the table at this point in time. So I was expecting this to be the case. To be honest, I was expecting us to lose more than win, which seems to be the case at the moment, right? It's around about 50% at the moment. I have had a couple of trades where, these should have been winning a lot more. So the actual equity has gone down. But if we were to have taken the trades as they stood and been consistent about it, we probably would be about break even at the moment, and that's after having a good day and then having a bad day yesterday. So all in all, I'd say around about that 50% mark. But hopefully we're gonna get some good trades today. We got 2 trades open. This trade I took a little bit earlier, the USD Jappy, seems to be going in our favor. Realistically, at this point in time, I would be bringing down my stop loss to break even or around about break even, because there's no point having this trade reverse and then go all the way up to meet our stop loss at the top there, right? If this trade winds up being back in this sort of level here, it's got no business being there. So I would be putting my stop loss, probably just above this high here. Sort of around about this level here, in case it did pull back, because as I said, it has no business having moved this far in our favor. How far are we since our entry point? Having moved 20 pips in our favor roughly, there's no reason for it to be heading back up. It looks like it's, just looking at this nice curve here, a little bit of an uptrend, a little bit of a sideways trend, and progressing into a downwards trend. This is almost like a textbook reversal curve in my mind. And you can see that, the 30-day moving, or the 30-point moving average is converging on the 200 point or 200 candle moving average there. So in my mind, this is a pretty clear setup for a reversal here, and we seem to have got in on the trade fairly early. Once this is sort of where it initially indicated that the trend was reversing, and then it's pulled back a little bit to this level here, and we pretty much got in at the perfect point there for the trade, looking on this 15-minute chart. So made a couple of changes to the trade manager or / assistant that I'm using specific to these trades. And you would have seen when I was setting up this USD CNH trade that I input the entry price, and what I did for that was just double clicking, copying, and then entering that, pasting that in there. Then what it does is it takes this max loss in pips. It looks at the pip value of the pairing that you're currently trading. So obviously, if you're on a JPY pairing, you're going to be looking for a 3 point or 3 decimal place value, and then it converts that into those values and spits out a bull level and a bear level. I can't obviously call them stop loss and take profit, because depending on if you're short or if you're long, they would be reversed. So for the sake of getting something operational and functional without having to stress over how do I code it so that it reverses it depending on whether or not you're going short or long, I've just put them as bull and bear levels. So obviously one is for the above level, one is for the below level, and then depending on what your trade is, you just pick whatever, if you're selling, the bull level is your stop loss and the bear level is your take profit. If you're buying, it's reversed. But that's just a way for me to be more consistent with my trades. Consistent in terms of looking at exactly what is given here, and then my stop losses and my take profit are exactly 1-to-1 of the predicted change, versus me sort of manually setting them prior, and because I might have got into the trade a couple of pips, a couple of pips below the entry price or above the entry price, it's slightly warped and slightly skewed. So for instance, looking at our account history, for the trade that I was talking about yesterday, where it was the Euro Jappy, that would have been a winning trade if I had entered the correct take profit as respective to the prediction. So that's going to help me to be a bit more consistent, because that's what I'm going for at the moment, is just consistency of following the system, regardless of whether that winds up having it losing or making money. It doesn't really matter, because if I can be consistent following that system, then I know exactly where the areas are that I need to be improving, and exactly, hopefully, the rules that I need to be implementing to make it a more profitable solution. One of the first things probably going to do is one of the first rules. So what I'm going to do is trade naked, basically, for don't visualize that, but in terms of not adding any rules outside of what is being given here. So I'm just going to trade exactly as it stands, exactly as the system is telling me to do, and we're going to get a result back. That result is probably not going to be that good. It might be break even as I see it if we're lucky, but I'm not expecting to make money on that. But then what we're going to do is we're going to actually implement one rule, and we're going to then test it again for another 2 weeks and see what the result is of that. And by this stage, we will have had the history page live. The history page should be live within a week, which will enable us to analyze a lot of data and make better decisions on which rules we're going to implement. But the first one I'll probably implement is not trading against a clear trend. So if there is an overarching sort of 4 hour or 1 day trend, like if I'm hit, let me just turn that off so it doesn't auto update. But if I'm here and it's telling me to buy, and I'm looking at the 4 hour chart thinking that's a clear downtrend to me, buddy, I'm probably not going to take that trade. Or if I'm here, it's pulled back a little bit and it's telling me now's a great time to buy, even here when we could have we could have snapped a little bit of profit, to me that's still a clear downtrend. There's been a slight pullback here, but it's about stacking the odds in your favor, as I keep on saying in these videos, and that's what we look for. So to me, I'm not going to trade against a clear trend. That doesn't mean that I'm always trying to trade in favor of a trend, because it might be a sideways market. We might be up and down like in this area here, in which case I don't think there's really any particular trend, right? It seems to be quite volatile, going up and down, and there's no real clear trend established. If I was in, say, the middle here, right, let me just put a trend line in here. If I was given a signal, say at this level, to me that's not a great trade to be taking, because that is similar to trading against a trend, and that is only saying that that's only really valid after it has verified that it is in the sideways market. So maybe after a couple of these movements here, these peaks and valleys, if we're, say, at this level here, it comes up to here and it's telling me to sell or to buy, I'm going to be a bit hesitant in there, because I can see we're at this sort of midway level of volatility, and to me it could go either way. Whereas if we're at this top level here, like where we are now, and it's telling me to sell, that is a much stronger signal in my mind. So I should have taken that into consideration when I was in this previous trade, sort of down here, and I will in future once we get out of this early testing period. But I would have probably not taken that trade, because I would have seen, wow, we're actually not really near the peak. We're not really near that support level. There's still a good 50 pips or so to go, and there's a reasonable likelihood that it is going to hit that level and stop me out. So it's just about looking at those things, and that's, oh no, what am I doing? What's this? Is that my stop loss or my take profit? Take profit. God. Let me just reset that. That was lucky that I didn't. Just make sure I'm setting the right one. Yes. Okay. I want to go 8097. Let me zoom in and just get rid of that trend line. I'm going to select it. There we go. Yeah, so it's just going to be looking at those things, and then finding one rule, implementing that for 2 weeks, trading with it, collating all of my trade data for those 2 weeks, comparing it against the previous 2 weeks, seeing if there's a clear winner in terms of increased profitability. If there's not, keep on trading with the new sort of system for an extra period of time to see whether or not it just required extra 2 weeks of data. If there is, obviously keep using it. If it's negative and it affects it negatively, then remove that and try a different rule. The reason only doing one at a time is it's that's A/B testing 101, or that's just optimization 101. If you're having multiple rules that you're implementing changes to, or just you're implementing those rules for the first time, and you do see a drastic change, or whether that's positive or negative, you don't know which rules are responsible for that, right? Or it's going to be a lot harder for you to determine which rules are responsible for that, because you're going to have to analyze each individual trade and say, okay, this is when that rule worked in my favor, and this is when it didn't. But if you've only got one one rule that you're changing, yes, it takes a bit more time to create that perfect strategy, but you're able to identify a lot quicker which rules are helping you. And it might not take 2 weeks of data to identify that. After 1 week, it might be, as clear as day. You might have a 10% increase in your winnings just based on that one rule, and it might be clear to you that yes, this is a good idea. And at that point, it's your decision whether or not to continue to test that, or to just say right at that point in time, yes, this is a good rule, let me implement another one, and start testing that. But this is what that data is going to help you be able to do. On the history page, you're going to be able to look at all that data, and you're going to be able to say, okay, this is what I think a good rule looks like, and then you're going to be able to start testing it. And that's the reason for this beta, really. That's the reason for releasing it without doing too much testing ourselves, because the more people we have testing the system using demo accounts, obviously, the quicker we're going to be able to get to the stage where we have a really good system here. So let me just have a quick look at these two trades, see where they're at. We've got one that's sort of around about break even, slightly profitable, one that's going beautifully, and I'm hoping by the end of this video we should have a winner there, depending on how things go. It is kind of stagnating at this level. Let's see if there's any support levels there. Yeah, kind of. Does seem to be a level of uncertainty. You can see here. We can see there on the 1 day. It's sort of, it's broken below those levels. So we're at kind of this level here. So there is some support, but it's nothing major. This is the real support, where our take profit is. So I should say we're going to make it there. Probably not going to make it much further. It's possibly going to bounce back off that level, but I think it'll spike down and hit it there. If not, make 95% of the move and then reverse on us. No, that would be some bad luck. Let me run through some of these trades. I'll quickly run through this trade that I just took earlier, about an hour earlier. So we'll go down to the 5-minute chart, and let's have a look and figure out where our entry point was. So entry time was 11:11, which is round about here. So it obviously thought that this was kind of like a setup for a reversal. Showed some resistance, but not overly strong resistance. I mean, it's a big candle there, but it's not broken below sort of this level here. In fact, it's slightly higher. So just looking at that, and what I said before about having not really met the peak, right? Not the best of trades in my mind. So entry price was 8306. So pretty much here, 1 point off, and we reversed, and our stop loss was 40.7. So we pretty much just pinged it right there, which is a bit unlucky, but that's just how it is sometimes. And all in all, this trade was too early. We needed to wait till it got to this point to take that trade. So it didn't go in our favor at all. It pretty much just reversed straight away, or continued with its current trajectory, which was clearly positive. Having a look there. Jumping over to the USD JPY. This is a bit of an unfortunate trade. Having known that the Euro Jappy had been bearish for the last couple of days, I thought that this was possibly a good trade for us. And we do have a good trade set up at the moment, but I think this was just another case of getting in a little bit too early, maybe. So we're looking for yesterday at 14.59. This trade was taken. Let me jump down to a chart of 14.59 yesterday. to zoom out. Actually, let me just put that on there. 14.59. Should be around here somewhere. And our entry level 107.142. $13.49, did I say? 14.59. 142. Am I looking on the right day? 25th. 25th, 14.59. That doesn't make sense. That's up here. And the entry price is much lower. 107.142. Stop loss was hit at 414, so we hit the spike 414, pretty much hit our stop loss at this point just before it reversed and came back down. Let me figure out if I can find where this was. I see, I'm looking at the wrong. I'm looking at when it hit our stop loss. 844. Right, so this is the trade that went in our favor. Sort of most of the trade, then it reversed and went back up, and I think it hit like a 20 pip stop loss or something around about here. So this trade should have been a break-even trade. Ideally, we should have set our stop loss to kind of break even around about this level, and we should have been stopped out at about here before it went back up, because it had already moved 80% of the trade. But as I said, I'm just letting these trades run. So that was a loser. That should have been pretty much zero though. Euro Jappy, a buy, had two buys for the Euro Jappy in a row here. In my mind, I probably wouldn't have taken both these trades, because I know that the Euro Jappy had been bearish for the last couple of days strongly, and it was in a downtrend. If you look at the 4-hour chart, you can clearly see it's sort of hidden downwards. But if we find where that trade was, going on the 15-minute chart, we have 7.49 yesterday. Which round about here, we got some stuff in the way there. If we go 7.49, pretty much at this level, we were looking for a buy. It dropped off a cliff. But that trade was that's a bad trade to be taking as well, because as I said, we're in a clear downtrend. So you wouldn't be trading against that trend. And we had a small win before that. It was, I think, a couple of hours before that, 5.29 rather. So we were looking, around about this level here, and we popped up and we hit like a 10 pip profit. But that's a high risk trade. That's a trade we wouldn't be taking anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't have taken that trade. I would have probably been in the long trades for this, all of which seem to have worked out profitable, or if you had entered at the right points, would have worked out profitable. So I would have been looking for those one-day trades on the Euro Jappy, and they would have worked out in your favor, which is good. So overall, couple of just bad trades there, but as we work on the system, hopefully it'll be able to distinguish between those trades, and you won't be given those signals, or they'll be just more quality signals anyway. So we had USD Chief. This will be the last one I'll run through, But we had a sell here. I think I didn't run through this one yesterday at 17.55 on the 24th was when we entered. This trade I think lasted quite a while. I think it was open for about a day. Yeah, it was, because we can see the exit there around about 24 hours later. So 17, around this level here, I think what were we looking for? A sell. And we entered at 791 and exit at 630. So it was only a 10 pip move, 14 pip move, and we didn't hit our stop loss there. We didn't hit our take profit. We sort of, same direction both ways. And then I believe we got stopped out around about here or here. And it was a 15 pip or so. What was it? 13.50 we got stopped out. So here, yeah. We're looking for I think it was about 16 pips. So a loser there. It spiked up and then it sort of stayed in this range. Looking at the longer charts, there's nothing really super bad about that trade. It is kind of in the middle of some volatility here, but it's not as clear in terms of peaks and valleys as we were talking about with the CNY. I think it was, wasn't it? USD CNY. Zooming out. Yeah. Right, 1 hour time frame. So it's not as clear as here in terms of the peaks and valleys, and there being like a clear cut funnel for highs and lows like there is here. But in terms of actually taking that trade, yeah, there's nothing to indicate that you wouldn't have taken that trade. It's just unfortunate it turned out the way that it did. It could have gone either way there for you. So that's what I'm going to leave it on today. Tomorrow, because it's going to be the weekend, it might be one more day of trading. Actually, I'm about 24 hours ahead of the New York time, so they should still have one more day. They should have their Friday of trading tomorrow, and then I'll probably do a recap video on Sunday, just going over all of the losing trades, the poor trades, and my thoughts. And that's going to be a weekly process that I'll go through to help us identify what the weaknesses are with the system, what the strengths are, and what areas we can improve upon. Because there's nothing like actually reviewing and reflecting on all the trades that we're taking, which ones are good, which ones were poor. It's going to help in every sense of becoming a better trader and improving the system over time. And eventually that will not just be the trades that I'm taking that I'll be reviewing. It'll be all of the trades, well, at least all of the very strong and maybe strong trades that are displayed on the history page that we'll have up and running, hopefully by this time next week. So yeah, I'll see you in tomorrow's video, probably one more day of trading. I'll recap the rest of today's trading in terms of these two trades we have going currently, which it looks like we're about to hit our take profit for our USD JPY trade. It's looking very good there. And our USD CNH, not looking so good, but oh shit, what did I do? I just dragged the take profit again. That's annoying. I should be able to lock those in. But we're looking okay here. So I'm looking at the 1 hour chart, and it has started to go in our favor. If we look at our trades here, so I'm going to reset that anyway, but I won't make you sit through that, through the tediousness of me mucking around with those numbers again. Pardon me, itchy throat. Okay, I'll see you in tomorrow's video.